So we made a video last time about GTA 6 being a cause for the delay. If Dark Deception Chapter 5 is supposed to drop around GTA 6. Let's suppose the last quarter of 2025 and GTA 6 were to drop, if it were to drop around the last quarter of 2025, Chapter 5 would have had to move. But a couple days ago, the news came from Rockstar Games officially that GTA 6 has been delayed for a whole year, next year on May 2026. So in this video we're just going to talk about and focus on the release date and all the possible speculations and scenarios and whatnot. At the moment, right, it is, from what we've seen so far, from the Q&As, from the tweets, from whatever we've heard so far from Global Secret and the director himself, Vincent Lemmings, Chapter 5 is on the course for 2025. And you know what? I've been recently thinking about it as well. We might not have that many teasers, we might not have news nowadays, but I think that's a good thing. Keep your head down and just work on the game and only start marketing when we're closer to the actual release. See, compared to AAA games, indie games like these, it's better to start marketing them when you're closer to the release date, and Chapter 5, in my humble personal opinion, is no different. Otherwise, we're just going to be repeating Chapter 4 stuff all over again. Chapter 4 was an exception because of the times and, stuff like that. And again, if it hadn't been delayed, Chapter 4, the amount of times that it had, this channel would not have been where it is at the moment. So I fully acknowledge that, but I think this strategy is far better. Even though it has been longer than Chapter 4's wait, this one didn't feel like that much because the gaps between each teaser, the gaps between each news and whatnot, it's actually a lot longer. And so the consensus in the Dark Deception community is that a lot of people, they don't care as much at the moment. But I think once the marketing actually begins and when the developers know that they're closer to finishing the product, and once they actually start marketing, I think that's when the community will start the hype. And I know I used to have different opinion on this matter, but over time that has changed, specifically for Chapter 5 of Dark Deception, and you know what, I'm fine with that. So let's get back to the topic at hand, which is GTA 6 being delayed. I think now the only hindrance for Chapter 5 that could be a possible potential hindrance to Chapter 5 releasing if it were to drop late 2025 are two games. One that has not been announced, Resident Evil 9, and the other one that has been announced, got a full-blown gameplay trailer, Silent Hill F. We're going to come to this in just a second. Why I keep mentioning late 2025 even though there's not official word on it is because just a couple days before the announcement of the delay for GTA 6, Vince Lemmings did say that everything is on the course to drop, and all the thingy that were supposed to drop by June, they will drop by June. There's going to be a separate video for Super Dark Deception, Monsters, Immortals, and whatnot, but those stuff are still releasing. And so when you put that into perspective, we got a confirmation again by Vince. He really didn't need to do this, but he did. He said, we're talking about Enhanced Plus release, not just their trailers. Chapter 5 Teaser 01, Super Dark Deception Chapter 2, Monsters Immortals on console, the skins and whatnot. All of them, they're supposed to drop by June. They will drop by June. So May and June, this month and the next month. If he's confident that, there is a likely chance of a couple things being delayed 1 or 2 months, like we're looking at July, possible, but you know what, since we did this much, a couple months or two wait, it's not that big a deal. So that's why I keep saying that late 2025 now looks like a real possibility. If the June promise of Chapter 5 Teaser 1 and Dark Deception Enhanced Plus by next month or the month after that, even in July, if they somehow make that, keep that promise and release Teaser 1 and Enhanced Plus by June or July, I think we're locked in for a late, and I'm talking late December 2025 or early January 2026 release date for Dark Deception Chapter 5. This is just a speculation. Of course, with Glow Stick and any product of theirs, delay is bound to happen, which is why I'm really stretching the spectrum. After Super Dark Deception Chapter 2, Dark Deception Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, we're going to put these side projects literally to decide. The main thing was Dark Deception Enhanced Plus and Super Dark Deception. Chapter 2 will be out soon, Dark Deception Enhanced Plus. And once that is out, from the mainline entries, only Chapter 5 is left. Because Monsters Immortals is due to drop soon on consoles, right? More info on that in the other video. The only thing that's left would be freaking Frog of the Lincoln Luck, which is Chapter 5. Now, let's talk about Resident Evil 9 and Silent Hill F, the point that I mentioned earlier. Resident Evil 9, there's a likely chance that next month in Summer Game Fest, we might get the reveal of Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil 9 was actually confirmed by the developers themselves to be in development, active development. It has been for a while now. So it's only a matter of time. The leakers are coming in left, right, and center saying, you know, a reveal is imminent. It's imminent. How imminent? We don't know. So the next best thing for us to do is to keep an eye out in June. June is actually a pretty big month now. Summer Game Fest. If Resident Evil 9 gets revealed with a late 2025 date, I think we're kind of cooked. And there's also Silent Hill F. If that also gets a late 2025 date, we're also cooked again. And I know people keep saying, like, how can you compare games like Silent Hill, Resident Evil with Dark Deception, or even you add some other indie games? That is not the point, right? The point when it comes to these indie games are the maximum impression, maximum visibility on your product. That's what it is. We got to look at it from developer's perspective as well. If Resident Evil 9 drops, I'm just giving you a simple example, right? Which game, if Resident Evil 9 and Dark Deception Chapter 5 drop at the same time, which game do you think YouTubers, I'm just giving you an example, I know it's a bad example, which game do you think Corey Kenshin will play first? He's gonna play Chapter 5 down the road. No, there's no denying that, right? But which one do you think he's gonna play first? Of course, Resident Evil 9. That goes for all horror YouTubers, all gaming YouTubers. They're gonna do the one that is like popular. Resident Evil, you know, well, I don't have to sit here and explain to you what Resident Evil is, right? Same goes for Silent Hill. Although a degree below in terms of popularity, it's still above Dark Deception. Matter of fact, Silent Hill is one of the biggest inspirations for Dark Deception, right? And its story and the way, whatever. So these two, in my humble personal opinion, I look around the game release for this year, I look around the horror games that could potentially impact Resident Evil for me personally, because it has happened before, right? It has happened with FNAF, with Resident Evil. These are the games, like, we gotta keep an eye out. But the good thing is, when it comes to these games, the delay gap is not gonna be that much, as opposed to if it were GTA. So kind of sort of good, bad, and cautious news. Just stay in the middle. Alright, this is not a good news nor bad news. This is just a cautious, you know, reminder that, hey, things can change, right? Things can happen. Just stay in your guard, right? And just sit tight. And we gotta just count our days and see where we go. So what's next for us Dark Deception fans? Well, tune in the next video, ladies and gentlemen, because this is already long. Kind of messed up on this by yapping a lot, and I don't want to edit that much, alright? Susu for more 100k. Take this as part 1. Part 2 is going to be short. I promise, this is going to be short part. I'll see you in the next one.